Welcome, my friends of the interwebs. I'm going to be Rusty's ragging up some cutlery and talking to you about a friend of mine who is a YouTuber named Carrie. I will have Carrie's YouTube channel link underneath the description, and I want y'all to check her out because she's a very, very special person. Carrie, here's the thing. Most of you know that I'm a Kentucky Colonel, and I have a video called Kentucky Colonel, and I talk about what it is to be a Kentucky Colonel. I planned on doing more videos on being a Kentucky Colonel. I really haven't gotten around to that yet, but I will. And a lot of people have asked me, how do you become a Kentucky Colonel? What did you do to become a Kentucky Colonel? And to be honest with you, I just really haven't. I haven't really got around to the meat and potatoes of all that yet, but I will. But I want to talk about Carrie because Carrie is the very first person that I've ever nominated to become a Kentucky Colonel, and her and her husband actually, and I did them both at the same time. So for the most part, they are my very first nominations. To become a Kentucky Colonel, there's only one way. You have to be nominated by a Kentucky Colonel. That's the only way you can be nominated. And the governor of the state of Kentucky has to actually review your. For example, I guess I don't. It's not an application. It's a an advocacy. It's basically I submit a request on their behalf that they be granted the commission of Kentucky Colonel. I can't think of the word I need to use for that. But, yeah, so anyway, that's how you become a Kentucky Colonel. A sitting Kentucky Colonel nominates you, and then it's up to the governor. And I don't have any control over whether or not the governor will make Carrie or her husband colonels. I'm hoping that he will. Now, having said that, why did I choose to nominate Carrie and her husband as my the first people I've ever nominated for that honor? Well, okay, Carrie. Remember when the first round of tornadoes came through and was just really devastating throughout the South? Carrie and her husband, they actually packed up their vehicle with food and supplies and headed towards the devastation, and spent a lot of their own money doing so to help fellow Americans. That is what Kentucky Colonels do. That's the type of person that becomes a Kentucky Colonel. People like that. So I've been thinking a long time about nominating somebody, because when you become a Kentucky Colonel, it's really your duty to seek out other people who have that quality and try to bestow that honor upon them. I had thought about it, and there was a couple of YouTubers that I thought were really kind of worthy. And I may still nominate those people. But what Carrie and her husband did, and so quickly and so honorably, it screamed to me that these are the type of people that deserve that. That recognition. Carrie and her husband didn't do it for recognition. They didn't do it for any other reason than to help their fellow human beings, their fellow Americans. And so therefore I nominated them. Now, I won't find out for a couple weeks yet, probably, whether or not the governor actually commissions them, Kentucky Colonels. But I hope he does. I've done what I could do. I suppose it's one of those things, to be nominated is honor enough. Now, having said that, everybody that I've talked to so far tells me that very, very, very seldom does the governor of Kentucky ever turn down a request from a Kentucky Colonel to nominate somebody or to commission somebody. So, that made me feel pretty good. So I feel pretty optimistic that Carrie and her husband will be newly minted colonels here fairly shortly. So anyway, for those of you who asked me what does it take to become a Kentucky Colonel, that's it. That's the kind of thing that gets you nominated to become a Kentucky Colonel. When you give of yourself, and you do so willingly and without any expectation of reward, That is what a Kentucky Colonel does. So, anyway, hopefully that answers some questions that people have. Yeah, it's funny because everybody knows that I hate these Chinese knives. In fact, I can't believe I still have these in my possession. But, I do, and, Chinese steel is some pretty shitty stuff, so I just thought I'd go ahead and hit it with some Rusty's Rags. One person said to me, hey, Voodoo, the Rusty's Rags knife kit and the gun kits are really the same thing, they're just different color. That's kind of the point. This is food grade silicone, and it's safe to put on knives. But because these are different colors than what you use on your weapons, there's no mixture of, because a lot of people put other toxic chemicals on their firearms, and this is a way to be able to say, hey, orange and brown, that's my knife stuff. Now don't rub on my guns. You see where I'm going with that? I like this SOG, by the way. Never really carry it, but it is pretty badass. I'm gonna rub this bad boy down too. Anyway, listen. Check out Carrie. Subscribe to Carrie. She's good people. Her husband doesn't really make videos, but he's good people too. But yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed that the Kentucky governor does the right thing. So, if you're watching this, Governor Beshear, come on now, do the right thing. All right, everybody, take care.